Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Thursday, the 24th of July. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation, advice whatsoever intended. And today, let's just have a quick look at Microsoft, which is testing the rising trend line here yesterday. So that would be key. If it breaks below it, there could be a correction down to 488.89, where we have some support. The RSI, there is divergence, as we can see here, declining RSI values indicating trend exhaustion, at least on the short term. However, if it takes out the peak here from a few days ago at 514.65, well, then uptrend is continuing. So just keep an eye on that one. On the Alphabet C, Google, we have the little bit of trouble getting through the 193.30 resistance here. It comes back all the way from here February earlier this year, so it's a little bit of struggling, but there is positive sentiment, no divergence on the RSI, so I think it will break above it eventually, but maybe we'll just have a little bit of a setback to around 185 before that scenario plays out. On the Nasdaq 100 index, where there are two major components or constituents, Nasdaq closed slightly higher yesterday. There is a little bit of divergence here. I think we are in a little bit of trend exhaustion, but we could still continue higher. I still don't have a top and reversal in place here pre-market. We are just a tad lower, but nothing to speak about. And there will be some announcement later on some of the companies, and we also have I think ECB interest rate decision later today, I believe it is. On the S&P 500, it had a very good day yesterday, pushed higher, continue its uptrend. So let's remove this one here if I can. There we are. There's slightly divergence, but with the RSI pointing in that direction, and the uptrend is still pushing on, there is potential to maybe above 6,400. Pre-market basically unchanged. Dow Jones also very strong yesterday, and continuing resuming its uptrend after taking out that peak there. RSI bounced. There is divergence, but I wouldn't be too worried at the moment. It looks fairly strong. Testing the minor resistance here, as we can see just below it, and in this area here we can see where it turned around a couple of times, so we can also move this one over here. Say this is around these levels here. We have just above 45,000. Moving on to the Asian markets, the Hang Seng again higher today, pushing higher again. I don't want to put a target on it, but a very strong move indeed above the rising trend line, so we can remove that. So we could push towards 26,000. There's no divergence on the RSI pointing to higher levels. Also, Nikkei pushing higher, reached the future, reached the 161.8 projection of this correction here at 41,945, actually spiked above 42,000. Also, positive sentiment, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels on Nikkei in the coming days and weeks. Moving on to the European markets and EuroStoxx50. Fairly good day yesterday, I would say. Didn't get back above the cloud, but let's see if, and it didn't even get back above the 55 moving. I was struggling a little bit. However, we do have RSI showing positive sentiment, so I think we could see it pushing higher eventually. We could also see that RSI actually broke above its falling trend line there, so it could be an indication that it will push higher. However, here pre-market slightly sliding back, but you will see here after market here on the EU50 CFD/future, it actually had a very good day after the official market closed, after the cash market closed. So I think we will very close, getting very close to the previous peak here, where we have some resistance fairly shortly, and we can also draw a trend line here. We can see really strong 5,470 resistance there. DAX DAX is also bounced yesterday. It still have this 23,975 minor support that is key. Let's see if it can push higher. We saw here in the aftermarket with the CFD here, illustrated by CFD, pushed higher, so we could get a challenge. DAX will possibly challenge the previous peaks here from July. If they're taking it out and closing above, then bullish trend is resuming, and I think it will actually, because we have positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels on DAX. On the forex market and euro dollar, that has crawled higher the past few days, flirting with the rising trend line there and the 786 retracement at 117.70. Needs to really push higher to well, it needs to take it out and push above the peak here, which I think it will do eventually. We have RSI back above 60 threshold, so I think we will see it taking out the peak here and push towards 120. There is a slight divergence here on the RSI, but the trend seems fairly strong. It's just about the 786 retracement. We could see a little bit of a setback before a next move, but keep an eye on it. If it slides back below 117, maybe it could be caught range bound down there. The sterling dollar at the moment retraced 50% of this sell-off down there, this the decline here. Strong resistance here at 136.2025, but we are above the cloud, we are above 55 moving average. Then we just need the 60 threshold to get back above to RSI to get back above the 60 threshold. Then it will confirm an uptrend. For now, we could still see it setting back a little bit after it can't get up there. We're still negative sentiment, so that a little bit of a limbo, I would say, at the moment. The euro sterling sideways range here between 87 and 86.35. If it takes out 86.35, well, then we're looking at 86 support area down there. On the dollar yen has been sliding lower here after failing to get up to the 200 moving average and 150, sliding back, taking back 50% of this uptrend here. Could slide back further, possibly down to the 55 moving average and the 61.8 retracement at 145.16. Could dip a little bit lower, but we're still above the cloud. We had the positive sentiment on the RSI, so I think it will bounce back and crawl back towards the peak here around 149 eventually. Just about, I think it's just about how deep this correction will be. Euro yen trading sideways. It's still struggling to get the last push up to 100 around to the 175.45 area, which is the peak here from July last year. If it takes out 170.80, then we are in for a correction. The Aussie yen bounced from the 200 moving average and the 95.75 support. And I think eventually we'll take out 97.45 peak here and push up towards 99.40-ish level. We have still positive sentiment on the RSI and no divergence, indicating likely higher levels. Sterling yen still in this range here, and it's still the key resistance just below 200 that should be observed. Could test the lower rising trend line, and if it takes it out, well, then we are possibly looking lower towards 196 area. Aussie dollar pushing higher. Yesterday closed above resistance there, and it's now pushing higher. RSI back above 60 threshold was already in a positive sentiment, and I think we'll see it pushing higher towards 66.50 and 66.80, where we have some resistance, and the 61.8 rich projection of this little correction here. So I think we'll see it pushing in that direction fairly shortly. The dollar Canada hovering around the 786 retracement. RSI just skidded off the 40 threshold. If it closes back below, then it has further confirmed the bearish sentiment, negative sentiment we already are in on the dollar Canada. I think it will push lower towards 134 70, excuse me, here in the coming days and weeks. Sterling Canada is, well, still holding on above the support here, but is caught here in the cloud area. So a little bit of neutral position, but negative sentiment on the RSI indicating lower levels. But let's see about that. If it can get back above 55 moving average and above the cloud, then it could resume uptrend. On the Swiss market, or Swiss, the Swiss franc, still this key support in 92.90 that should be observed. Dollar Swiss, finding some support here at 786 retracement at 79.12. That is it's flirting with at the moment. Negative sentiment on the RSI, but that doesn't seem to be much of a divergence. Indicating likely lower levels, and I think it will push lower. And if it takes out the lows here, well, then we are looking at around 78, possibly down to 77.5. On the dollar index, well, hovering around the support here at 96.95 and the 61.8 retracement just above 97. That is key. We see RSI bounced from the, finding some support here at the 40 threshold, but it's already negative sentiment. So I think it's just a question of time, and I think if it takes out the lows from today at 96.86, then I think we will see a push lower towards the 96 and possibly lower. Gold, well, gold setting back after breaking above the 3,400 resistance, and the RSI also got back above the 60 threshold, but now it's all sliding back again, and we see RSI also sliding back, maybe to test the falling trend line there. So that was a little bit of a surprise move. I would say I actually expected to push higher, but it couldn't take out the peak up here. So the top and reversal pattern here is actually still in place. That's quite interesting. Could test the rising trend line there. Once again, it is now back to the 61.8 retracement, and it actually went straight through, and now it seems to be a little bit of a support. So I would be on the sideline if it was me. I don't know own gold at the moment. I would be on the sideline if it was me, just to see what's going on here the next few days. Will it bounce off and then push higher and take out that peak there at 34.39? If it does, then I think we'll be looking at 35, 50, possibly higher in the coming weeks. But for now, it's just a little bit of a setback there that you really should keep an eye on. Silver also pausing a little bit. Will it get a negative day today? If it gets a bearish day today, then we have a top and reversal pattern in place, very short term at least, and we could see a sliding back, maybe or even down to the support area around here, 37, 31, 32. But let's see, we're still in a bullish trend, but it's a little bit stretched, I would say, but there is room higher. Platinum, can't really make us a mind of, yes, we are in a bullish trend, higher highs and higher lows. Is this just a correction? We need to push high to take out this bearish candle there and the peak. If it does that and we get RSI back above the 60 threshold and preferably also back above 67.72, then uptrend will resume. I think it will happen eventually because we are in a fairly strong bullish trend on the medium term, but as you can also see, it was very stretched, so maybe we're in for a bit of a rocky time, some volatility and correction kicking on. What is not in for a correction, it seems, is copper. That is currently above the peak here and above 590. Very strong bullish trend, potential to above 600, 625 maybe even. Positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels. Same picture on the RSI, so a very strong uptrend indeed. Crude oil, WTI crude oil bounced a little bit here this morning, finding support at the 55 moving average and the 100 moving average. Could bounce further, still positive sentiment on the RSI, but other than that, for now, just range bound. If it takes out $64 per barrel, then downtrend is likely to be established. Brent crude oil seems to be forming a rising trend line there. Is it entering an ascending triangle-like pattern? Jury's still out on that, but it needs to get back above 71.53 to resume bullish trends. So if it takes out the lower rising trend line there, well, then the key support 66.34 should be observed. The European nat gas touched the touching the lows here and support at 32.64. If it takes it out, well, then we are looking at, if we get a close below, we're looking at the lows around 31.85. US nat gas, well, went straight through the support at these two lows here, and could be testing $3, possibly pushing below $3 in the coming days and weeks. On to interest rates and US Treasury yields. That's bounced a little bit, but still caught range bound here between 432, 450. Moving on to the European yields that should be you should keep an eye on today. Bounced the Euro 10-year bounced yesterday from the 55 moving average. So it was actually no man's land between 38.2 retracement and 61.8, but it was around 50%. So we can actually add that one. So let's see if we can get it there. Right there, you will see it was from basically 50% of this uptrend here. So it bounced, very strong bounce indeed. And if it takes out 274, well, then there's much higher levels in place. We don't hope for that. We don't like higher interest rate. But if it takes out the 258, well, then we could see it sliding back to around 250. UK 10-year. UK 10-year is also bouncing from just above the support there, but resistance there just around 470. If it takes out that, well, then there's potential higher. And finally, on cryptos, we have Bitcoin, basically just still trading sideways. The Ethereum in a correction phase that could take it all the way down to around 3,200, 3,193. I'm not quite sure we'll get there. I think we could turn around before then and push higher. Positive sentiment on the RSI, and there's no divergence indicating likely higher levels. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again tomorrow.